So I've been a huge soccer fan for a long time, from the time I came out of the womb. Huge soccer fan. So this next segment for me, some of it will be fun to go through. Great. Some of it won't be. That's good as well because it's pushing the envelope for me and as well as the people. I'm pretty excited about that. How far are you willing to push yourself? And so that's what this segment's going to be about. Thank you again so much for everyone listening to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Stern. I'm coming to you live from Tampa, Florida. It's pretty good outside, probably about 70. Don't know how it is around the rest of the country, but I like it here. Okay, so we're going to talk about the best signing MLS has had since David Beckham. As many of you know, David Beckham signed with the Galaxy. And he did pretty well. I think he brought them up a margin and made the MLS a league where stars can come at the end of their career. And that's great. Players like Kaká are in Orlando City. Frank Lampard's going to go to New York City FC, the new franchises that they've added to the MLS. And I think it's good because it's starting to bring some relevance to soccer to this country. MLS started in 1996, so almost 20 years now of this league forming. And they're doing okay. I had the honor and the privilege to work the All-Star game in Portland this past summer, and wow, the names that were there were incredible. To be standing with athletes that you saw growing up, it was quite the experience for me, and I'm never going to forget it. So when they announced that Sebastian Giovinco was signing with Toronto FC for $7 million for 5 years from Juventus, one of the premier soccer clubs, not just in Italy, but in the world, I was shocked. He's a 27-year-old Italian national. He's a forward. He's about 5'5", so I'm a little taller than him, barely. Some of the things that he brings to the table: he's small, quick, technical, and an agile player with noted dribbling skills and some control. He also possesses notable playmaking skills and is known for his passing ability and accuracy on free kicks. He's a really good player and is playing with one of the best teams, one of the best clubs in the world in Juventus. And at age 27, when he's in his prime, the prime of his career, he decides to come to the MLS. Now, what does that say for fans? For the women, of course, eye candy, whatever. Again, any foreign MLS star that comes here, I'm sure. Posters everywhere, drool, need your buckets underneath, whatever. But what he brings in terms of product to soccer is going to be pretty interesting to see because he's 5'5". MLS, well, it's not a respected league as of yet. It's getting there, and it's because of its physicality. If you watched the MLS All-Star game in Portland, they were playing Bayern Munich, one of the top 2-3 clubs in the world. Manuel Neuer at goalie, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Lewandowski, Mario Götze. In the U.S., with their stars, again, Will Johnson from the Timbers, Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, played pretty well and were physical with Bayern Munich. Physical. So what Giovinco brings is a name, and he brings a pretty good reputation. I mean, he hasn't played that much with the Italian national team. 21 starts, scored only 1 goal in those games. But he is one of the premier players in the world. And again, it's not that he just left to go to MLS because no one else wanted him. Premier teams in the world wanted this guy. Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, Juventus was still wanted him. Teams in Germany, teams in Spain. They all wanted this guy. And he decided to sign for $7 million over 5 years with Toronto FC. Now, is this the beginning of something where the MLS starts to be respected? Maybe. But this is a huge step for Major League Soccer. When I was watching it growing up, you'd see names that you'd occasionally see on the roster. You'd see Casey Keller, Roy Lassiter, Alexi Lalas back in his heyday. But you never saw players like Brazilian Ronaldo, like Zidane, in their prime, coming over here. Again, Giovinco is not one of the top 5 players in the world, but he's up there. He's up there as one of the premier players in the world, and the fact that he is signing here goes to show you that the MLS is definitely progressing. Is it bringing a better product? Absolutely. Will more people tune in? Yes. So I think it's at a very exciting time for MLS as they're bringing in more and more stars. Again, not just at the end of their career, but in their prime. And that's just going to show you that MLS, watch out. Now, my next topic here, again, if you don't want to listen to this topic, that's fine. It'll be about 10, 15 minutes. And then you can tune back in later. That's fine. I have no problem with you tuning in. But if you want to tune in, let's understand that what I'm going to say may not be harsh, or may be harsh. It may not be the most popular opinion. I really don't care. I'm not really for the popular opinion. I can be, sure. But for this scenario, I'm not. Hope Solo. What do you think of Hope Solo when you hear her name? Do you think of the Washington goalkeeper? Maybe. If you follow soccer that well, yeah. Washington from 1999 to 2002. Majored in speech communications. Her 2-time Olympic gold medals. Yeah, I mean, she's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Absolutely. Or do you hear about the issues that have gone on the last year? I'm going to sugarcoat it right now, bring it up in a second. In her most recent issue with the law, Hope Solo and her husband, Jeremy Stevens, a former tight end for the Seahawks and the Bucks. Stevens was pulled over for DUI. Hope Solo was in the car with him. And according to some reports, Hope Solo wasn't the most bright person in that scenario in saying some things to the cops. And some reports coming out now, within the last 2 hours, Jeremy Stevens was driving the United States team vehicle while intoxicated. Now let's just stop for a second. When you get behind the wheel of a car and you've had a couple drinks, you're not just putting in danger your life. You don't care. But don't put the life of innocent people in danger. There are too many people that have died over people doing this stupid decision, making this stupid choice. The fact that Hope Solo someone who, again, not me personally, but for many other little girls, is considered a role model, acting the way that she did, it's a disgrace. It's an absolute, utter disgrace. Now, what did the U.S. Soccer Federation do about this, per se? They suspended her for 30 days. 30 days. Now, she wasn't even driving, and they're suspending her for 30 days. For me, if you're going off this scenario alone, okay. When you look at what she's going to miss 2 games, 2 friendlies, one against France and one against England. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. But what I think the U.S. Soccer Federation is saying by that is not by this scenario, not from the DUI. It's from an incident that occurred last year. So for those who don't know, Hope Solo was arrested on June 24, 2014 and charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of assault in the 4th degree, one against her half-sister and the other against her nephew. After pleading not guilty, she was released the following day. And then a couple months go by. She's set for trial. And then, earlier this month, the judge dismissed the charges against Solo because of lack of cooperation from both alleged victims. Okay. The NFL this past season has suspended several players for domestic abuse. Adrian Peterson essentially being the scapegoat, per se, being shown as an example, per se, for what can happen. Again, Ray Rice was the big name in the offseason, sure. This is U.S. Soccer's way of suspending Hope Solo for 30 days, of that we got it wrong. That we got it wrong. And again, she's married to Jeremy Stevens. So, before I go into Hope Solo and her issues, let me go ahead and take a look at Jeremy Stevens, her husband. Again, he played in the NFL for several years with the Seattle Seahawks and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jeremy Stevens, from the beginning in high school, has always had issues. During his senior year, he and another student were accused of beating a schoolmate over his head with a baseball bat and stomping on his face. The victim suffered a broken jaw and ate with a straw for 6 months. Stevens initially denied being involved in the fight, but admitted his wrongdoing later. Stevens was charged with a felony assault and was ordered to home detention while awaiting trial. And then because he tested positive for cannabis or weed during home detention, Stevens spent 3 weeks in jail. High school. You know, I guess everyone says that you make bad decisions in high school. Sure. Have I? Not to that level, per se, but I've made bad decisions. You go to college. He was accused of sexual assault on a 19-year-old female while at Washington. That's huge. Now, again, I'm not downplaying that sexual assault. That's a very serious issue, but in 2000, the media didn't care. They maybe talked about it for maybe 5 minutes. They didn't care. Let's go to his traffic violations. 2001, cited for reckless driving, hit and run while crashing his pickup into a retirement home. 2003.